hmm Hello. It's been a while since I've been on this channel, but you know what? I've been doing my own experiments, social experiments, if you will, and some might be at others' expenses, and most of the time it's on my own. You throw yourself into situations and see how things turn out. One of the things I've witnessed firsthand through either myself or other people is when you are truthful or true with yourself, you're going to be true with other people. You could be the biggest giving person around, or you can be the biggest asshat. If you're true to your nature about it, there's very little about it that people will not know about you. In other words, if you're a two-faced person, the second face comes through, and people don't want to know you because they don't know the real you because you're showing too many different levels of your personality. But if you show who you are from the get-go, then there you have it. But what happens if you meet someone who they're lying? I mean, literally lying. They stutter. They might get upset with you. They might even backpedal. They might, do all these other little quirks to distract you from their own behavior. But truth be told, they're not being true to themselves in the lie. So they don't know how to handle the lie. In other words, they're bad liars. These are the kind of people you don't want in your life, or more specifically, I would not want them as a poker partner player, because they would not know how to bluff. Truth be told on that one. But when you put yourself out there for these situations, you have to kind of reel yourself back in. And the reason why is it's more of a self-assessment for me, because if I am truthful, unfortunately you have a standard for yourself, but the bad thing is you can't make that standard for other people. So, there are other occasions where if a person is torn between two other people, for instance, and the stereotypical decision making is that person in the middle. In other words, it's either that person or me, or that kind of thing. But why even put that middle person into that kind of dilemma? Just have it so that they make their decision, and if it's not with you, then you step out. Not that hard, because if you have someone affiliating with somebody who is not associated or compatible with you in any way, shape, or form, socially, morally, spiritually, etc., then you're kind of wasting your time with that person. And this is how I see it. So when you go down the checklist of your personality, the personality of others, how does it work out? And emotions can play a part, but essentially they play a small part, because if you're true to yourself, emotion has nothing to do with it. And it's unfortunate to a degree, but again, if you are true to yourself, boom, there you have it. I'll give you a quick story, because I like to run these things about a half hour anyway. I grew up with people, for instance, I grew up with someone I used to do martial arts with as a kid, since the 5th grade. And one day I was told by him that he's learning martial arts from a particular martial art family. And I believed him. I had no reason not to, because one, he was my friend, right? And secondly, we did a lot of martial arts together. We went to different dojos, different practices, different styles, and the person actually changed his voice in a way on the phone to mimic a person that he was trying to identify as. Truth be told, it was just, obviously it was him, And basically he was lying. He put this front up. Don't know why. You know, I mean, a person was top 5 of his class. You would think otherwise, but that's what he did. And, but, you know, at that time, I suppose, he wanted to lead and I was a follower. Then he had, I have other people. I worked for a guy who was a treasure hunter and archaeologist. You know, and some of the credentials were real. However, some of the scenarios of his misadventure, if you would, were very questionable because he was alone when it happened. That kind of thing. You know, my attitude is if it's not a shared experience, you don't have the experience of the other person. And sometimes, you know, credibility is in question. So, anyway, that person, you know, essentially became fraudulent. And then when I go throughout life, I bumped into many other people like it. I've bumped into people who were multi-billionaires, but they lived a beyond humble lifestyle. However, with that particular person, I could care less. I enjoyed him for his company, not for his wealth. So if he was worth buku bucks, well, then more power to him. You know, I always joked with him about his money. I didn't care about it. I truly didn't, you know. But sometimes he would make a point about it, and I thought that was strange. I've had other people who, well, just too close to the cuff to mention, but basically their bullshit just came out real quick. And that's the whole point, is the bullshit. You know, people sometimes have to put up some kind of facade of existence to make themselves seem more important or more elaborate than what they are, you know. And it's kind of like they're trying to create their own soap opera world. And I'm talking, all this shit happened to me way before the internet, you know, and it still happens today. Anytime a person backpedals from a story that they talk about, or more so, if you question their own morals or ethics as to why they behaved a certain way when they contradicted themselves, that's a problem. You know, 90 some other percent chances they're fine, you know, talking about love, life, and the pursuit of happiness. But when you challenge their behavior, their moral compass or code because they contradicted it, and then they want to like get combative, it's because they're having the issue, not the person who's asking the questions. So, you know, you have to find humor in it to a degree. You know, do you really punish the person? No. But do you want to affiliate with that person anymore on a social matter or anything else? Well, it opens up Pandora's box, doesn't it? Because once they go off and they start to lie about one thing, what are they going to lie about next? You know, there was a thing on there was a meme I saw. It said, a killer will kill you, a thief will steal from you, but you'll never know where you stand with a liar. The worst kind of liar is a person who lies to themselves and see it as truth. And even with the people who don't see their own lie as truth and try to perceive it as such, well, that's when you call bullshit. So when you're dealing with people, the best person to understand is the person in the mirror. Because once you understand yourself, it doesn't matter about the other people around you. It helps to understand them, or understand what they're about or where they're coming from, but you don't have to. Know yourself and know that you don't need to be around people who don't know how to be true to themselves. And essentially, you must be true to yourself to do it. Worst case scenario is being a liar among liars, because no one knows where they all stand. Anyway, that's where I come from with this. And should you ever decide to stumble upon or correct yourself, put the ego away and admit you fucked up. And if the people around you respect and honor you, they might keep you around. And if they don't, consider something called lesson learned and move on. But some people can't do that. They lack the strength, and they lack the intestinal fortitude to do so, or to carry on in general. And that's the pity. That's the shame. Anyways, wish you well. Take care. Bye for now.